This is episode 70 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The Bengals absolutely massacred the Detroit Lions this week. And I know they're a bad football team, but I think the way they won deserves some serious respect. The Browns, well, they fell flat and they ended up on the wrong side of a lopsided victory. We're going to talk about what these games mean and how to move forward next. But first, I just want to point out that the Steelers almost lost to Geno Smith. Because why, Thomas?
Because the Steelers still suck.
The Steelers still suck, that's right.
That's the only thing that sucked yesterday.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
All right, so why don't you tell me what you're drinking today, Thomas?
Today, I am drinking a twisted tea because I may or may not have to knock some of my... Somebody will get hit in the head with twisted tea. I mean, apparently it might be the Bills' defense over getting ran all over Derrick Henry and stuff.
Oh, shit, I didn't even put that game on yet.
Derrick Henry just had a big-ass run, I'll tell you that for sure.
So Thomas is drinking a twisted tea. I am drinking, once again, something new. Trying to get as much new on this podcast as I can just because I'm fascinated by new stuff. I got something from the Ohm Gang Brewery Company. Have you heard of this one, Thomas?
Omegang?
Omegang?
Wait, what is it? What are you drinking? Here, put it to the camera.
It's called Three Philosophers.
Yeah, that's a good beer. That's a really good beer.
Yeah, it's
Omegang. Yeah, that's a really Omegang. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah, I heavily mess with Omegang.
Yeah, so it's quadruple ale and Belgian style Creek ale with cherries. I know in general, I'm usually not the biggest fan of like cherries with beer, but we'll see. Let's give this a shot. I get used to this new boom mic I bought. That's good. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite ones I've had, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a very dark beer.
Sort of. It's definitely got like a richness and a deepness to it, but
yeah,
it's not so dark that I don't like it, because like a lot of real dark beers I'm not a big fan of, but this is not too bad.
I just know that beer because yeah, that's one of the beers that my manager used to love. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, so I guess we just really need to go ahead and jump into these games then. So we're gonna start this week talking about the Browns and Baker Mayfield, man. Not just Baker Mayfield, by the way. It was like the Browns as a whole, but like there's just a lot to really process there, man. Like I mean, Baker was making bad decisions. He looked like I heard like Zach Schaumler. He runs Strong Opinion Sports, and sometimes I like his content, sometimes I don't. But he basically the way he put it was Baker Mayfield's trying to be Michael Vick, and Baker Mayfield is not Michael Vick and needs to stop.
Dude, first of all, there's something strange going on. First of all, that dude was hurt big time.
He's getting a second opinion on his MRI. Allegedly.
Yeah, that's going to be we'll know by the next podcast. Dude, there's so many injuries on this team, it's ridiculous. And besides, he was playing hurt yesterday. Even that was a good. I mean, he freaking threw it like. He freaking threw a 57-yard Hail Mary on one bright spot about yesterday. Donovan Peoples-Jones played well. When I was at the game, I seen him and Odell Beckham. They were talking a lot to each other the whole game. So there was that. There's so much to digest for this game. I don't know where to start. The offensive line, y'all talk about him looking like Michael Vick, but here goes something that nobody's talking about. The offensive line for the Browns been playing horrible. like absolutely horrible. Like, so I mean, so like, all right, we're talking about Baker having receivers open to his left. Well, he's rolling right because his left side is being bombarded by J.J. Watt because he's getting rushed and he's getting out hurried every 5 seconds because the offensive line is not setting for him. He had no time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So, like, dude's getting killed out there. Like, he got torn labrum because he's getting killed out there. Like, is anybody else? Am I imagining this poor defensive line? So that's why he's looking like Michael Vick, because he has to look like Michael Vick. He's scrambling out of the pocket because he don't got no time to throw the ball. So there's that. But not only that, he is making bad decisions out there. He had 2 fumbles. He got blocked in the back. He's throwing picks. Like I said, the last couple games, at least not turning the ball over. He had a lot of turnovers yesterday. He's on the same page with his receivers, and he's injured. It just wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game. It was not a good game, man. It's there's no defense for it. You just gotta play better, dude. Him and Odell.
So
now they have to because Kareem Hunt's out for a very long time, and Nick Chubb's not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Jarvis is hurt.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on your offensive line comments. Looks like for the most part, I'm looking at the Pro Football Focus grades, which is the only way I really know how to like judge offensive line play at a glance. I mean, without taking the time to actually sit down and like break down the film of what we actually saw from the Browns this week, which I obviously don't have time to do right this second. But just a quick look at the Pro Football Focus grades for the Browns offensive line. It looks like they play really well as far as pass blocking goes.
Burned again by Pro Football Focus. God dang it, Pro Football.
J.C. Treader, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller. All of those guys graded at least a 70 in pass blocking. And then you had
last game or like over
Blake Hance and James Hudson, who graded a little lower, but they were still in the 60s. So I'm again. You were the one who was there. You were the one who watched the game. So
I don't know. It just looked like to me.
It
looked like to me he'll get, but maybe he might have been holding the ball too much. But there's time he missed open receivers too. But
that was the other thing I wanted to mention. It really looked like Baker Mayfield was really just trying to make the big play happen, and as a result, he was holding on to the ball too much, and a lot of what went wrong for him. To me, again, from a very quick glance, because I didn't watch the full game itself. I watched some highlights. I watched some other people do film breakdown, but from what I could gather, it looked like Baker Mayfield. The issue he had was that he was just trying to do way too much, and he needs to calm down, and it's okay to be a game manager. Some of the best quarterbacks out there are game managers, and Baker Mayfield is a very good game manager. So use your skill set, man.
I know that he has the ability. I mean, he has an arm. Not like he don't got an arm. Like I freaking seen him bomb it 57 yards across the field. Like that.
You can right money, and have explosive potential.
Like all he has to do, like you said, you're missing open receivers.
Mm-hmm.
You're overthrowing the ball. You're overreacting. And I really wonder how much pain he really is. He's really in. I wonder if he's not making throws because of the pain it might, You think like torquing his body certain ways might cause certain types of pain? Because he got torn labor. Like, I don't know, man. Because
at one point, and he went back in the game after this, which was kind of fascinating. But at one point, I forget when it was, but he landed on his arm and
like this.
It bent with his shoulder bent forward, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then he went back in after the game. And
man, he's a tough dude, man. I don't understand. Like, people be giving this man so much hate, and he's trying to play on a torn labrum for real with half a shoulder. Man, that injury's not good, man.
Yeah, that's not good because who's the backup out there again?
Case Keenum.
Oh,
and Case Keenum's not good. Case Keenum's not good. I don't care what nobody say. People are like, oh yeah, we should start Case Keenum over Baker. Nah, dude, Case Keenum sucks.
Well, he's one of the better backups in the NFL, but the problem is
still
you never want your
sucks.
backup to be the guy who has to play all year.
Man.
The other thing that I'm worried about, and I promise you I am not trying to do a victory lap here, but we do have to talk about it. And Odell Beckham Jr., man. Like
I think look, honestly, I think out of the two, I think he's gonna be okay. Like I'm more worried about Baker than I am Odell. I think Odell's gonna be okay from that.
Injury-wise or play?
Yeah, I think
play-wise, something's going on with Odell. And yes, he was the Browns' second leading receiver.
All right, so
like 79
like
yards, but that's it.
Okay, now you're right. Play-wise, like injury-wise, I think he's fine injury-wise. But play-wise, the reason why I'm not like the big concern is play-wise, you can still recover because there's still 11 games left in the season. It's plenty of time for you to come back. The reason why I'm like less concerned about Odell than Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield's hurt. And I'm worried, like, even if he's not hurt, like, when is he going to heal? Like, that's an injury that's going to be out for the rest of the season, like, type thing. That's something that he won't be able to heal until the offseason. That's what scares me about Baker Mayfield. Now, play-wise, yeah, I am really concerned about Odell Beckham play-wise because he dropped what was it? We were down by 15. We were down by 16. We were down by 2 touchdowns, whatever. We're still in the game. But it's early in the fourth quarter. You have the ball at the what was it, like the 10-yard line and 8-yard line? You catch that ball, you get the ball at the 8-yard line, dude. Right in your chest. Right in your chest, dude, and you drop that? Come on, man.
I have a question.
Come on, man.
Because I haven't looked it up myself.
That was nobody but Odell too, man. That was nobody but Odell's fault.
I heard Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah got hurt. How's he?
He's gonna be out for weeks. He's gonna be out probably the same amount of time that Kareem Hunt's gonna be out. Yeah, I know it's tough.
Oh,
the injuries for the Browns are bad. The injuries for the Browns are really bad. Let me see if I can. Yeah, the injuries for the Browns are bad. You got Jarvis Landry out. You got Nick Chubb out. Baker Mayfield's hurt. Odell's hurt. Kareem Hunt's hurt. Nick Chubb's hurt. Jarrett Wills is hurt. Ward's sore. Your defense all beat up. Myles Garrett's hurt. Jadeveon Clowney's hurt. Takk McKinley's hurt.
So that game took more of a toll than what we thought.
No, they came in the game hurt though. That's the whole thing. And then when Kareem Hunt went down with that injury, the whole team just gave up. Like, man, like the life of the stadium was just sucked out of it. Like it was crazy. The injuries this team is dealing with is insane right now. But like the thing, that's why I said like Odell, like, all right. So now any Odell Beckham trade talk, I'm shutting down ASAP. Because now, literally, Odell Beckham is the only person that I know that will be able to play on Thursday.
Maybe.
And he's still a question mark. Odell Beckham's literally the most likely person to play on Thursday.
That's something else. I'll tell you what though.
My God.
I'm not trying to like stick my thumb in the wound here or anything like that, but I will say if Baker's out for an extended time and with all these other injuries y'all have,
it's not good.
You're going to get an exclusive look at what it was like to be me on this podcast last year.
Man.
Because
but like it's like all the most like the amount of talent though, like it's not that we're just going through injuries. It's just like these are all-stars, these are pro bowlers who are hurt. Like our Pro Bowl wide receivers hurt. Our Pro Bowl running back hurt. Our other Pro Bowl running backs hurt.
Why did Case Keenum go in the game at the end?
Because the game is lost. Baker Mayfield's arm, he gave him a raise over his head.
Yeah.
Like it's not worth it anymore.
So I wasn't sure. Like I said, looking from a distance, I wasn't sure if Case Keenum went in partially because Baker was playing badly, or if it was mainly because of the injury, or if it was because the Browns basically gave up because the game got out of hand.
Honestly though, like at the end of the day, so you're down 14-30.
Mm-hmm.
14, yeah, we down 14-30. The Browns go on a 70-yard drive to get you down the field. Like they fought. They still fought. It's the fourth quarter. You go on a 70-yard drive to get down the field. You get already down your 4th and 4, whatever, and you throw a slant route right to Odell Beckham in the chest. You're still fighting at that point. You throw a slant route right to Odell Beckham's chest, and he drops the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the frustrating thing to me, because even still with all the stuff that happened, the team still fought. And it's like, Odell Beckham, you had a chance to prove to the world that you're here, and you dropped the ball. And I'm not roasting you, because actually Odell Beckham actually played a really good game up to that point. Like, Odell Beckham didn't really play that bad up to that point. Donovan Peoples-Jones played a really good game. We could tell.
There was this one really bad drop that Odell had, though.
He had the highest pro football rating yesterday. He blocked well.
Yeah,
he played a good game. He didn't play bad. Yeah, he didn't play bad. He didn't play a bad game.
I actually disagree with that rating. Like, I mean, he had a 90.9.
He only dropped one ball. That's it. He dropped one ball.
Yeah, but that was a really important thing, and there was
a really important thing
where he just wasn't making like for me. A lot of what I criticize Odell about is more about like what he didn't do rather than what he did do. Because when he was involved in the play, he typically did pretty well. But like there were a lot of situations I felt like he could have gotten involved that he just kind of like took the play off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed like the whole team quit. I think that defense did for sure.
I'd say that sounds like a coaching issue, but I think we all know
exactly. And now we can't. Now that you mentioned it, we can't do this segment without giving without roasting these coaches.
Go ahead.
Who do I start with, Kevin Stefanski or the defensive coordinator?
Well, I'm curious about what you have to say about Kevin Stefanski.
Stop going for it on the fourth down. Just simply put,
7-0. That doesn't seem like the Browns' MO. Like
you have the worst fourth down convert. You have one of the worst fourth down conversion percentages in the league right now. Stop going for fourth down. Like, just stop. Like, it's not what a catch, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it anymore, because like they're going for fourth down. Like, we're down 7-0 early in the game. Yeah, you're down. It's gonna be pass interference, but it's early in the game. You're down by 7. Take the freaking field goal, dude. Just take the field goal, dude. Just take the points. Like, just take the points, man. And next week, Thursday, you better take the points. Like, just take the points on board. Your team's not converting on third down. You don't have Jarvis Landry, your bailout Payne. You don't have Nick Chubb. Your offensive compromise. Take the damn field goal, dude.
Well, I will say there is something to be said. A lot of NFL teams are starting to go toward a little bit more of an aggressive mentality.
I get.
But the thing is, the reason for that is because the analytics say that on average, it's usually a better idea to try to go for it on fourth down if it's like fourth. But that doesn't count when your team just isn't converting them.
Exactly. I think you should play situational analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Exactly. Like the thing. Okay, so like baseball, for example, and baseball is probably one of the most analytical-driven sports. But the thing is about baseball is there's a balance. It's situational analytics. Like there's a balance of analytics and like it's strategy. Like, the analytics are there to help, but the analytics are more like a cheat code. Like, it's not like you're gonna go strictly on analytics. It's situational analytics. You don't like. It's like with fantasy football. Like, the computer knows what are the best players to draft. Like, they can say, hey, this player is the best because of these stats and these projections and everything. But at the same time, the computer don't take into account injuries. The computer don't take into account human error. The computer don't take into account coaching and situation of who's the player, who's the backup player and stuff like that, because situational analytics.
Well, supposedly that's what the projections are supposed to do.
Yeah,
but typically the projections are bullshit, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Situational analytics, man. Numbers are numbers, but until you put it on the field. So, numbers are great. They help a lot. I'm pro analytics. Don't get me wrong. The analytics make the thing getting better. but situational analytics, man. So, like, you gotta do better. But that's all I got to say about Kevin Stefanski. I know Kevin Stefanski gonna get his shit together, his stuff together.
All right. Well,
person out.
No, go ahead if you got more.
No, I'm done with Kevin Stefanski. I'm gonna go on Joe Woods, but you got.
I was gonna move on to the Bengals. If you got more to say about the Browns,
no, I just got one more thing about Joe Woods, and I'm done.
All right,
Joe Woods. Joe Woods, he is not doing a good job as a defensive coordinator at all. The way they played defense was just quite frankly embarrassing. The Cardinals controlled time possession, so they didn't allow Baker Mayfield to even get in rhythm, even if he could. Every single time they got the ball, I'm like, dang, you're not gonna stop these guys. And like, I don't know, you have all these ballers on defense, dude. Like, you have all these ballers on defense, like, use them. Like, come on, like, this defense isn't this bad. There's no way this defense is that bad. There's too much talent on this freaking defense for them to be playing this bad. It's not the defense itself, it's the scheme, man. It's totally the scheme. Like, I don't know what's going on out there. They don't know what they're doing. They're confused out there. It's communication. Like, you suck, Joe Woods. I'm done.
That's a fair assessment. You know, I have basically the same complaint. It's like, you got so much talent on that Browns defense that, the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks is just quite frankly unacceptable.
Yep.
But then again, to be fair, you're going against two of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. So you have to expect that they're going to get some shit done. But again, letting Justin Herbert get 47 points, letting Kyler Murray just walk all over you all game, giving your offense basically no chance. But then again, that's partially because the offense isn't getting anything done.
Don't get me wrong, though. Don't get me wrong. I really do think they're going to get this shit together. They're going to get the stuff together. They're going to figure it out. But all right, real quick though, gut feeling. You think Baker Mayfield will be able to play Thursday?
Do I think who?
Baker Mayfield will play Thursday. Gut feeling.
Do gut feeling? Do I think Baker Mayfield is going to play on Thursday? Who do they play? The Broncos.
Yeah.
My gut is partially because I'm like. Because I'm not super familiar with what's going on with the Browns, like I'm familiar enough to produce this podcast, but I mean, I get most of my information from you and from like Google. So my gut feeling is partially taking like storylines and stuff into account because I'm like because I'm kind of more I'm a beat writer, so. My gut feeling is saying Case Keenum is going to be the quarterback against his old team, the Broncos. My other gut feeling is saying that the Browns might not need Baker Mayfield to beat the Broncos because of just the Broncos. But it just really depends on. I think it mainly depends on if Baker Mayfield isn't severely IR type injured. Then it's really just going to come down to pain tolerance, and he's got pain. Oh my God, Josh Allen just threw a terrible pick. Oh my God. So yeah, Baker Mayfield, pain tolerance. I think Baker Mayfield can handle pain. I don't think that's going to come down to an issue. I think it's just really going to come down to the severity of how hurt he is.
Okay, I'm with you. I think that he played Sunday after getting hurt. He like I said, he made some good passes after getting hurt. The crowd chanted, "Get a Baker, shit like that, stuff like that." Yeah. I'm with you though. I think I honestly don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know because I still think a Baker Mayfield with no left arm is better than Case Keenum. I think Case Keenum's that bad.
Yeah.
I'm not as doom and gloom about it as the rest of the fan base. The rest of the fan base is like, oh, no, we're not making playoffs. The season's over. Like, nah, I ain't gonna go that far. Like, honestly, the reality is you beat the Broncos. You got 10 days off. You got time to get healthy. Y'all be fine.
Well, that's the thing. They got, the Broncos should be like a get-right game.
It should be, but people are hurt, though. People are hurt.
That is true. That's something to think
about. You don't have Nick Chubb or you don't got Nick Chubb or what's his name? or Kareem Hunt.
Speaking of get right games, though, the Bengals, man, holy crap! Like, that first half, really like the first. I don't know. They got out hot. They scored on their first drive, and then they just kind of like went into a shell for most of the rest of the first half. And penalties were kind of a problem. It was kind of weird there for a minute, but I mean, even with the pretty bad first half that you saw from the offense, the Bengals still massacred the Detroit Lions. Okay, maybe not like full on like highest scoring game of all time or whatever. Although that defense, the way the defense played, they absolutely deserved a much higher scoring game than what it really was. But the final score was 34-11. Now, those 11 points all came in garbage time for the Detroit Lions. By the time they started scoring, the Bengals had already started taking starters out and were playing prevent defense just to make sure that the Lions didn't like accidentally get back into the game. So it's like, yeah, if you want to score, go ahead and score, but you're gonna have to like drive slowly down the field to do it. And that's pretty much the way they played it. So the shutout didn't happen, but I say as far as like any relevant aspects of the game, the Bengals essentially shut out the Lions. And the Bengals finally put up over 30 points on offense during the season, and they really probably should have put up over 50. But again, that first half was just kind of rough. But they did finally put up over 30, which is what a lot of us have been saying. The Bengals this is what the Bengals really need to show. They need to show that they can be an explosive offense. Now we really need to see that explosive offense consistently, and we also need to see them close out a game against the playoff team, which they haven't done yet. They've beaten 4 teams now, and those 4 teams are the Lions, the Vikings, which the Vikings might end up being a playoff team. We'll see. The Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers not a playoff team, and the Jaguars, who are the Jaguars, and just ended their 20-game losing streak. So yeah, the Bengals still need to show that they can beat and close out games against quality opponents. We know they can contend because we saw them play against the Bears. Really, they should have won that game. Really, honestly, they had no business being in that game the way they played most of the game. And at the end, they really should have won it, but they just kind of like came up just short. And then the Packers game, as you know, one of those Evan McPherson field goals in. He even thought he got one of them. He was so sure he got one of those field goals. He started celebrating before he saw what happened. In theory, it's like, yeah, we're good enough to beat the Packers. Yeah, we're good enough to beat the Bears. Yeah, we're good enough to beat these playoff teams, but we actually have to do it first. But we know that we know that this team is good enough to do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. So beating the bad teams, beating the Steelers, beating the Jaguars, like dismantling the Lions, who are probably the worst team in the NFL right now. It's like, if you go out and you beat the Lions, but it's kind of a close game, then you're kind of like, I haven't really answered a whole lot of questions about these Bengals. But you go out and you like annihilate them and honestly shut them out 34-0. Until like I said, garbage time and the backups and the backups and the prevent defense and all that kind of stuff starts happening. At that point, it's whatever. But I mean, really, the Bengals like shut out the Lions and completely destroyed them in the process. And that's one of those boxes we wanted to see them check. So Thomas, the power rankings that are going to be coming out, I'll give you a little bit of a sneak preview on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Although actually by the time this podcast comes out, the power rankings will be out. So, if you follow me, then you're going to see the power rankings anyway, but I'll just let you know now that the Bengals have officially now gotten into the top 10. So the Bengals are now a top 10 team. Unfortunately, that came at the expense of the Browns because the Browns are now, I think, at number 11.
Hey, man, look, you know what, Donalo? They deserve to be out of the top 10.
Well, the last 2 weeks, that's the main reason I did it because it's just, that Man, that game against the Chargers was like, I mean, it was admirable, but they just couldn't get the job done. And they did it again against the Cardinals, and that wasn't even admirable. So yeah,
Well,
I just
I mean,
I
like
didn't
at
have much of a
least,
choice.
I mean,
The
at
Bengals
least again,
deserve to
no,
be up
you,
there, and the Browns don't right now.
no, I mean, everything. You're 100% right. Right now, the Browns aren't playing like a top 10 team. The Browns aren't playing like a Super Bowl contender. With all these injuries, like they're going to prove it. I mean, they got 11 weeks left in the season to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have plenty of opponents to prove themselves against, but right now we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be.
So I think everybody but Terry Bradshaw's old senile ass expected the Bengals to win this game. I say that because I was watching the like Sunday morning NFL show, and Terry Bradshaw was basically on there being like, "Oh, I think the Detroit Lions are going to come out here and they're going to feel like, oh, we want to get a win. This is our week to get a win against the Cincinnati Bengals who play down to opponents." So Terry Bradshaw's on air like talking so much shit about how the Lions are going to like embarrass this Bengals team. And I'm just sitting here watching Terry Bradshaw like, I hate you. Stop it. You're an idiot. you don't know what's about to come. Like, I mean, I didn't necessarily think the Bengals were actually going to pull off a blowout win, but I knew they were capable of it, and I was almost positive they were going to at least win. But I was glad that Terry Bradshaw was made to look like an idiot. But then again, he does that to himself constantly. But that's what
you suck, Terry.
Quarterbacks, right?
Freaking Steelers fan, quarterback,
right? A lot of people were worried the Bengals would fall victim to the trap game because they've done that so many times. With they got a huge matchup against the Ravens next week. Go check out the double overtime pod for Around the Block. I'm going to be on there next week, or not. Well, in a couple of days, I'm going to be going on there to talk about this Bengals Ravens game. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah, we'll be.
But
suck Baltimore.
Before we got there, we had to go take care of this Lions team. And early on, it kind of looked like the Bengals might get trapped. Now, sort of. The defense just dominated, man. They allowed I think I saw a stat at the end of the game. Defense allowed less than 2 yards per play over the whole course of the game. It was the defense was just insane top to bottom all day. And I think I would have liked to see them force a few more turnovers, but if they're just going to like stifle opponents like that, I don't really care. The problem is the offense kept getting the ball back and kept getting opportunities to go try to get something done, and they just, for whatever reason, they could just not get out of their own way. I mean, like there was back-to-back offensive line penalties that kind of like killed one drive. There was dropped passes. There was Joe Burrow overthrowing wide receivers. It was weird in the first quarter, in the first half. It really looked like the Bengals were gonna get out of this game and maybe kind of squeak away a win. But at the same time, you're gonna come away from it feeling like, man, these Bengals just aren't ready yet. They're still playing down to their opponents. They're not ready to be one of the top teams in the NFL yet. But to their credit, the thing that Zach Taylor has done basically his whole career in Cincinnati is he made correct and proper halftime adjustments. And after halftime, the offense and defense both came out and together absolutely goddamn slaughtered the Lions. And it was, I mentioned this to Thomas before we started recording. It was really fun to watch if you're a Bengals fan, and probably just kind of like a snooze fest for anybody else. Because I know Lions fans hated it because we saw it on the broadcast. Lions fans were like disgruntled and booing, and we saw later on YouTube videos of like Lions fans in the stadium, and they were all just like being, they're like, it's a rebuild every year, and they're just frustrated, and it was awful for them. And then anybody who would have watched on live TV, it's just like it was a blowout. It was never really close. I mean, the first half had to be awful to watch for anybody, for any neutral party. The second half was at least a little more interesting because at least the Bengals offense was doing good. But yeah, it was weird. But I don't think anybody other than Bengals fans really enjoyed it.
I hope Baker Mayfield will play on Thursday. I'm sorry, I'm just still stuck on that. Like, at least you knew. At least you knew. Like, at least you knew, Kyle. Like, you knew from the minute he got hit. Yep, that man's out for the season right there. died in purgatory.
Yeah, that well, like I said, if it does turn out that he's out for the season, you're going to get to find out what it was like to be me last year. Because I was
If
just in
he's out,
purgatory all year watching the Browns have this great season, and I'm just kind of sitting in the
if
back
he's out
like,
for the season, if he's out for
is
the
it next year
season,
yet?
if he's out for the season, what they're gonna probably do, they're probably gonna go out and sign probably. They're either gonna trade for somebody or sign somebody.
Who would they sign?
Cam Newton. And I'm not saying Cam Newton is the savior. Do not misquote me on that, because I'm not going to say that at all. Because I'm not saying that
Well, the last time he played, it didn't look too good.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I have this huge faith in Cam Newton. I don't know if Cam Newton can throw the ball anymore. But that's what they'll play. That's what they'll go after, because the players in the locker room, a lot of players in the locker room got relationships with Cam Newton. And I think Cam Newton will probably be one of the first options. Kyle Letta, I think that I really think Kevin Stefanski will rather take a risk on Kyle Letta than Case Keenum. I just don't think Case Keenum's good. I just don't.
I think he's better than Kyle Letta.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's that. I really don't think Case Keenum's that good. Like I watched him in Denver. He was horrible in Denver. But then again, though, he knows Kevin Stefanski's offense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. There's also the option of trading with somebody like Tyson Hill from the Saints. I wouldn't like that. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
So
I really don't. Probably trade for somebody, actually.
Right. To get back to this Bengals game, though, I want to call out Dan Campbell a little bit, right? Like, I mean, he's been like a media darling, right? Because everybody's just he cares so much about his team and blah 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 blah. And real quick, I want to call out a decision that he made that I thought was cowardly.
Okay, look, you a coward, Dan Campbell.
I thought it was a coward move. And I'll explain why here in a second. But you got 8 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game. The Lions haven't done anything on offense all game, and the Bengals are up. The Bengals are up 27-0. And the Lions get this pretty decent drive going down the field. They drive all the way down to the Bengals 17-yard line. The Bengals defense finally gets it together, stops them on a third down. It's 4th and 9 at Cincinnati 17. And Dan Campbell tells Austin Seibert, who is now on the Lions, by the way, Thomas. Dan Campbell tells Austin Seibert, go out there, get us a field goal. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting here like, you absolute coward. You absolute coward. Like,
coward.
I know it's 27-0, but you're not going to at least try to fight. You're not at least going to try to let's go for on 4th down. If a miracle happens, we can still win this game. Let's go try to win. They weren't trying to win anymore. They were just trying to put points on the board so they didn't get shut out at home. And for what it's worth, I don't know if you remember this last year, Thomas, but the Bengals played the Ravens in Cincinnati, and Zach Taylor did the same thing. Zach Taylor kicked a field goal at the end of the game because the Bengals offense finally got something going, and they got down the field, and he was like, okay, let's go. Randy Bullock, go out there, kick a field goal so that we at least don't get shut out at home. It's like, avoiding a moral collapse or whatever. It's not really a moral victory, but it's also not a moral, like everything's terrible kind of thing. And Zach Taylor got absolutely killed. Do you remember this? Do you remember everybody? The Ravens defensive coordinator made a big stinking deal about it. Like, oh, Zach Taylor, you coward, you ruined our shutout. And you're not going to at least try to fight and go for the touchdown. And fans around the NFL were calling him out and stuff like that. And I thought it was kind of annoying. But I'm just sitting here like, do I really think Dan Campbell's a coward? No, I don't. I get what you're doing. You're trying to your team's having a really rough year, and you're trying to not make things even worse than they already are. And you're just trying to put some points on the board so that at the very least they can say they weren't shut out. But But why is nobody talking? Like, the Bengals got absolutely killed for this. Zach Taylor got called every name in the book last year for this, for the exact same thing, and nobody is mad at Dan Campbell. I don't understand. Like, what is going on with the double standard here? Like the Lions aren't even like a likable organization. I mean, they're not a dislikable organization, but they're not like some like organization that everybody loves who's just down on its luck. It's the Lions. Why is everybody being like, oh, Dan Campbell's such a great guy? It's like, first of all, he kind of turned on his quarterback in the press conference. Second of all, he kind of had a coward move. Instead of going for the touchdown, he just kicked the field goal. And then they did end up getting a touchdown on their next drive after that. But again, like I said, the Bengals were just playing prevent defense, and they were really just trying to run out the clock. They were like I said, they were like, you can score, but we're going to make you take forever to do it. And that was really the whole idea. And that's kind of what they were doing on that drive that ended up in the field goal. But again, it's just kind of like, bro, go for the field goal or go for the touchdown. Like, how are the players going? Like, how can the play? I'm just thinking, if I'm a player and I got that competitive spirit and I'm trying to win, even if it looks hopeless, I'm trying to win. And my coach goes out here and is just like, guys, let's just kick a field goal so that we don't get ourselves even more sad. Like, come on. And I kind of said this. I actually did. We can go back and look it up on the podcast itself. But I sort of said the same thing about Zach Taylor last year. I'm like, bro, like, if we get shut out at home, we get shut out at home. But maybe you shouldn't have just put together a shit game plan in the first place. A crap game plan. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust because we have we have affiliates now. So
Dan Campbell. Why are you kicking the man while he's down? It's already bad enough he coaches the Lions.
I am genuinely really not trying to kick Dan Campbell while he's down. I am trying to point out the double standard that exists. They were kicking Zach Taylor when he was down, but nobody.
But you're calling the man Courage the cowardly dog up here, man. You're calling the man Courage the cowardly dog.
I said it was a cowardly move, and it was a bit of a
calling him Eustace.
I also understand what he was doing, but the thing I'm mad about is that nobody ever seems to want to hold other teams to the standard they hold the Bengals to. Like, it's like, when the Bengals make even the slightest misstep or mistake, everybody in the NFL national media loses their minds. But other teams do the same thing, and everybody's just like, oh, it's okay. Like, when the Steelers go out and play dirty and have these, like, terrible, awful, like, hits against other players that are clearly targeted, nobody bats an eyelash. But Vontaze Burfict exists, and everybody has a conniption. I don't know. I think that people, it's like nobody's really saying a lot of bad stuff about the Bengals right now because they're a likable team and they're winning. So there's not really a whole lot to say. But watch the next time the Bengals lose a game, there's going to be some weird thing that everybody's talking about. Like, oh, did you see what the Bengals guy did? Like, Jamar Chase responds to Dan Horde, who literally asked, "Do you think there's a difference in the college ball and the NFL ball?" And Jamar Chase was like, "Why, yes, Dan. This is the difference between the college ball and the NFL ball." And Mike Florio's out here like, "Oh my God, did you guys see Jamar Chase making these excuses about how the difference in the size of the balls is actually making it harder for him to catch the ball, and that's why he's like having all these missed catches or these drop catches in the preseason. He's clearly not taking accountabilities for his actions. The Bengals are a disgrace." And I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, if any other player for any other team said that, nobody would be making a big deal about it. But because it's the Bengals, people have some sort of vendetta against us, and I don't get it.
Honestly, I have nothing to say about any of this, honestly, because the first thing the way you started it off with is, Dan Campbell, you are a coward. And I was just like, yeah, you're a coward, dude. But why he's a coward? Like, come on, you don't gotta insult the man's character for coaching a football game poorly.
I'm just trying to point out a double standard. That's all I'm trying to do. It's bullshit.
Dude, we're from Ohio. There's nothing but double standards, man. I don't like people from Ohio. No, he's in the Midwest, dude. Dude just got hit. The dude was turning the ball for the freaking Tennessee Titans. Hit his other player in the butt, and I went down with an injury. Hopefully, it's not serious. Hopefully it's just a cramp so I can laugh at it.
So
if it's not a cramp, I won't laugh at it. I won't laugh
one
at it because he's pretty hurt. Ah, dang.
one last play that I wanted to highlight for this Bengals game, and then we can move on to our other segments. But Jamar Chase, bro, like first of all, just like his game-changing catches, that's been talked about to death. We all know how good of a wide receiver Jamar Chase is. We all know how big these deep passes that he catches like swing the momentum of games and stuff like that. But Thomas, I don't know if you saw this. I know a bunch of people have seen this. If you're listening, you've probably seen or heard about this. But Thomas, I don't know if you saw this, but at one point, Joe Burrow found found Joe Mixon for like, I don't know if it was a check down or it was a designed like wheel route for Joe Mixon or what exactly that was. But he hit it for Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon found I think it was a wheel route. I think about it because it was a little deep down the sideline. So he found Joe Mixon on a wheel route, and Joe Mixon caught it, and he was, he had a pretty decent amount of space, and he got some yards, and he sort of had this lane to get into the touchdown, but there was a defender barreling down at him, and out of nowhere, Jamar Chase just sees this defender coming straight at Joe Mixon. Dude sprints up the field, goes and lays a crushing block on this defender, and Joe Mixon ends up with a 40-yard touchdown catch. Like Jamar Chase. I don't know if you've seen the picture, Thomas, but Cincy Hub put out this picture. Like you remember the picture we talked about in the offseason where somebody had Joe Burrow, and then in front of him was like anybody, and then they were trying to throw it to Jamar Chase, and it didn't get there because Joe Burrow got sacked. But then you had Joe Burrow being blocked by Penei Sewell, and then he got it to anybody. So they kind of made a play on that where you got Joe Burrow being sacked because Penei Sewell is there blocking him because, spoiler alert, Penei Sewell hasn't exactly played well. He got absolutely bullied by Trey Hendrickson this week.
Yeah, you suck. You suck, Penei Sewell.
Yeah, I mean, he's a rookie, man. I don't know. He'll get it together. But
Jamar Chase is a rookie. He was like the best receiver in the AFC North.
And the best blocker, because that's what I'm getting to. The second panel was Joe Burrow upright throwing a touchdown pass to Joe Mixon, and in front of him blocking was Jamar Chase. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's just so completely flipped.
That's actually the underrated thing about these receivers from LSU. The receivers from LSU, they learn how to play the game very well, including block. And these receivers from LSU, they know how to block. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham are both very good blocking receivers. And it's just something about LSU receivers, man. They know how to block, man. They're very physical receivers. So I mess with it.
Right.
Odell Beckham. Odell. Literally, you are the offense on Thursday. You are literally the offense on Thursday, dude. God help us.
Quite possibly, but I think
it ain't real possibly. It's just a fact. Who else is gonna be our offense?
I don't know, man. Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Lord help us.
All right, but we do need to need to kind of move it along here. So
I'm okay. I'm just disappointed.
Let's go ahead and get into our underrated players of the week. So I think I think I kind of figured out kind of a standard format we can do with the underrated players of the week here. What I'm going to do is when I get to a team, I'm going to let the opposing fan come up with their underrated player of the week first. Because they're not as familiar with the team. So, when we do the Browns, I'm going to go first. When we do the Bengals, I'll let you go first because I think that's probably more fair. So let's go ahead and get started with the Bengals. Thomas, why don't you give me your pick for the Bengals underrated player of the week? All right, we'll do the Browns first. So for me, I'm going to call Donovan Peoples-Jones my underrated player of the week. Just because that man, that Hail Mary catch that he made, I texted you about it, right?
Yeah.
Like when it happened, I was just like, oh my God, Donovan Peoples-Jones, that catch, dude. It ended up not making that much of a difference, but it gave the Browns some real momentum going into halftime. And if they had been able to capitalize on that, that might have been a different story. But it was really good. It was a really good play. It was a really
good play.
Yeah. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, like, I mean, I think he might be probably the most underrated player on the entire Browns team. Maybe not the best receiver, although he did go over 100 yards this week. Although with Jarvis Landry being out, I think he might be actually be the Browns' best receiver, because it definitely ain't Odell Beckham Jr. Not right now. So what about you, Thomas? Who's your underrated player of the week?
Punter.
The punter? The Scottish Hammer.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why, actually, because I actually got a good reason why. Because Scottish Hammer, he's been getting criticized all week about, all year about how bad he's been playing. And he put 2 kicks on the money. Shut the haters up. He's the only one who shut the haters up. I'm not saying about on defense, because you suck defense. I'm not saying about the offensive line, because I don't care what you say. The offensive line sucked. I can't do Donovan Peoples-Jones. You already said him, because that's the only player, that's the only person on the whole entire team who played well. Odell Beckham played bad, but he ain't underrated. He's overrated. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield is being carried by his right arm. I'm not saying any of the running backs. Kareem Hunt's hurt. And Demetri Felton didn't have any chance. I'm not saying the coach, because you sucked last game, Kevin Stefanski. Do better. I'm not saying Joe Woods, because Joe Woods is playing like he want to be kicked into the woods. So I'm going with the punter.
He did average 53 yards per punt.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. And a field goal kicker. You made a nice little field goal. So shout out to you. Extra point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Scottish Hammer did not get any of his punts inside the 20. But again, 53 yards per punt. It's like, when the offense is playing the way they're playing, at the very least you can do is try to flip field position. And he did that quite often. Now, I mean, didn't make that much of a difference, because, I mean, the Cardinals still scored 37 points. But, he had Jamie Gillian gave him a chance.
All right, I got my Bengals player. My Bengals player was Chris Evans.
All right, I figured you'd go with him.
Well, I mean, I was gonna go with Brandon Allen, but then I was like, "Oh, Chris Evans had a touchdown," and I've been going Chris Evans this whole time. I'm gonna tell you, watch out for my boy Chris Evans, and he got a touchdown. So shout out to you, Chris Evans.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Chris Evans. That touchdown grab that he had. First of all, there's so many great things about Chris Evans. I was originally going to make him my underrated player of the week, and then I didn't, because I figured you would end up making it. So I found somebody else.
I mean, he had 49 yards over 3 receptions. All I gotta say
he did, and that one reception that he caught for the touchdown, like Joe Burrow way overthrew him. And Joe Burrow, like I said, had a rough first half. He was overthrowing dudes. He was inaccurate. It was weird, and he way overthrew Chris Evans for that touchdown. But Chris Evans, like he extended himself out. He grabbed it. I mean, it was a highlight reel type catch. And I actually found it funny, because the Bengals put together a Joe Burrow highlights clip for this game, and they added that play, which I get. It was a touchdown pass. You have to put a touchdown pass in your highlight plays, but it was a very badly thrown touchdown pass, and it was a Chris Evans highlight. It wasn't a Joe Burrow highlight. And then the other thing that Chris Evans did is he had this incredible blitz pickup on Joe Burrow at one point, where Joe Burrow, I think, I could be wrong, but I think that was the play where Joe Burrow threw like the 53-yard pass to Jamar Chase that really kind of sparked the offense. And that was only made possible because Chris Evans had this key blitz pickup on the Lions free runner. And that right there, if Chris Evans can be that, then that solves the last little thing that you kind of miss from having Giovanni Bernard. And also if he's playing like that as a receiving back and can really make can really make an impact like that, this is going to be a really scary running back tandem. And to be completely honest, I fully believe that if Chris Evans had not cheated on that test or whatever he did to get himself suspended from Michigan,
Oh my God, he cheated on a test. He can't play football.
Well, in college, that's what the rule is. Because college is supposed to be about your academics. Now, why that's the only route to the NFL in the first place, we can talk about that. But I don't blame the colleges for caring about academics.
NCAA, you suck. Not because of that incident. Not because of that one incident. Don't look at me because of that incident. But there's a lot of reasons why you suck, NCAA. You know why.
Yeah. But anyway, Michigan had to suspend Chris Evans, and he missed a lot of quality playing time. And when he came back, it's like Jim Harbaugh didn't want to really use him a whole lot anymore. So that's a big reason why he was a 6th-round pick. But anybody who actually watched him when he was playing, anybody who watched him at the Senior Bowl, anybody who scouted him leading up to the draft knows that this dude was way more talented than your typical 6th-round pick. So, and I think the Bengals talked about it. Zach Taylor talked about it. Brian Callahan was the one who pointed it out. And he's like, "Hey, this Chris Evans guy, if we can get him late, let's go pick him up." And that's exactly what they did. And honestly, I think Chris Evans would have been like a 2nd-round pick if he had been allowed to play his whole career at Michigan. But because he had all those issues, he fell all the way to the 6th round. And the Bengals, I think, found a gem. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with both Joe Mixon and Chris Evans going forward.
You know who else is big on Chris Evans?
Who?
Me. I'm big on him.
Yes, I can tell.
I've been big on him since the beginning. And that's why I was so happy. That's why I was so happy when I forgot he had a touchdown 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right.
Look, man. Yeah. I mean, look, man. Let me be real. Like when the game was going on between the Bengals and the Lions, I was trying to watch it, but I was also tailgating, drinking, and having a good time. And I was trying to watch it on my phone, but then alcohol.
Yep.
And partying.
Mm-hmm.
And church. Because we gotta keep it respectful. Who's your underrated player of the week?
My underrated player of the week. And this one's going to be a little bit of a surprise to pretty much any of the Bengals fans listening. My underrated player of the week is Trey Hill, the backup center, the other 6th-round pick that the Bengals had. Who part of the reason he's underrated is because of me. I was very, very critical of that pick. I said it was the one pick of the whole draft I didn't understand. I also wasn't really the biggest fan of the Tyler Shelvin pick because I didn't really get what it was going to do for us. But the Trey Hill pick, it had more to do with just I didn't think Trey Hill was a good player. I saw him in the Senior Bowl. I saw some of his tape from this one camp that he was in. He was getting beat left and right, and I was just I don't understand what we see in this Trey Hill guy. And I mean, he hasn't shown up at all. Through training camp, through the preseason, through anything that we've seen, you saw basically nothing out of Trey Hill. So this week, he started in place of Jackson Carman, who, by the way, I have a funny Jackson Carman story that I want to tell here in a minute. But he started in place of Jackson Carman, who missed practice all week, or I think most of the week, if not all the week, because he was on the COVID list. And so as a result of being on the COVID list, he made it off the COVID list for this game, but because he missed so much practice, they started Trey Hill over him. But Trey Hill ended up getting himself benched because he had back-to-back penalties on, I think, the second drive of the game that absolutely killed that drive and killed any momentum that the offense had. And so, and they were bad penalties. I mean, it was like a holding, and it was I forget what the other one was, but I mean, it was boneheaded, stupid penalties that you don't need to be doing. And it was looking like Trey Hill was just going to get himself benched and just never come back and just be this obvious, terrible weak link we have on our offensive line depth. But to his credit, when he did come back in, you know what? Let's go ahead and get to that Jackson Carman story real quick. So the reason Trey Hill ended up coming back in was because Jackson Carman went in relief of Trey Hill because he was able to play. Trey Hill was playing really badly. Jackson Carman comes in. Jackson Carman had a really good, he only played 23 snaps, but he had a really good 23 snaps. He had an 87.2 grade from PFF. 90.3 run blocking grade and a 63 pass blocking grade. So it was one of the best games like through 23 snaps that Jackson Carman's put up all season. But problem is he started like vomiting all over the field on his 23rd snap. And yeah, they had to get the medical card out to come like take him into the locker room, and he was completely out for the rest of the game. It was looking really bad, and a lot of people were speculating like did he actually have COVID, and is this the instance where the COVID thing goes into like full focus? And turns out that's not the case. It turns out what actually happened, and this is speculation, by the way, this is nothing confirmed, but it sounds like Trey Hill may have gotten food poisoning from Eminem's new restaurant, Mom's Spaghetti, in Detroit.
See,
so
that's why you don't trust Mom's Spaghetti.
I think Eminem, the Lions fan,
there's vomit on his sweater already. That's not far fetched. You remember the flu game by Michael Jordan, or the pizza game in the flu. But look, man, all right. But here's the thing. I think that's a myth. But here's the thing, though. Are you really surprised the lyric of the song, like, is the vomit on the sweater already? Mom's Spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. He wasn't. It wasn't. Oh no, shit! I'm gonna have. That's interesting, Thomas. I'm gonna have to tweet that out later. So Eminem's a prophet, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that.
There's vomit on his jersey already. Mom's Spaghetti. And so he has to go out. And so to get around to what I was saying about Trey Hill, Jackson Carman goes out because he's puking all over the field. Trey Hill comes in, plays so much better. I mean, he didn't allow he like as far as like pressures and quarterback hits and hurries and all that other stuff is concerned. He didn't allow a single one the rest of the game, or at all for that matter. Like Trey Hill played probably the best. I think Trey Hill is probably the best overall offensive lineman for the Bengals once he came back into the game in relief of Jackson Carman. His Pro Football Focus grade's only 64.9, but I think that a big reason for that is because of those two killer penalties. But again, once he came back in, Trey Hill was damn near perfect. And it's really encouraging that we have that guy's a depth piece, and it's really encouraging to me because, like I said, I was really worried that we took a guy who wasn't going to turn into anything. I mean, luckily it was a 6th round pick, so I wasn't worried too much about the pick because I was like, it's a flyer, maybe he pans out, and so far it looks like he's actually pretty good. So just stop getting boneheaded penalties, but other than that. He was pretty much perfect on the whole day. So shout out to Trey Hill.
Yeah, shout out to Trey Hill, y'all.
Shout out to Trey Hill. All right.
Shout out to these ticket prices for going down after I buy them.
Right.
Dang, I should wait till after the Browns lose to freaking buy my tickets to the game. I don't know why I thought these fools would win. I think they're gonna win. Ticket prices can go up. No,
we both thought the Browns would win.
I got nothing. Let's go on to the next segment.
All right.
I'm mad. I'm just swallowing my depression right now with the Browns losing their whole entire team. Yeah. By the way, I have the injury list. Nick Chubb is hurt with a calf. Jadeveon Clowney, Jack Conklin, Myles Garrett, AJ Green, Kareem Hunt, Malik Jackson, Elijah Lee, Malik McDonald, Tack McKinley, Greg Newsome, David Njoku, Malcolm Smith, J.C. Treader, Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, and Jedrick Wills are all questionable out. Not to mention Baker Mayfield, Kareem.
Rest in peace, Browns.
They're all questionable or to out.
Man.
That's literally every single starter. The only starter who's not on that list is Hooper. That's literally every single starter.
Yeah. And speaking of Hooper, we're going to talk about him on our next segment because we got to move on to talk about the Fantasy Football League, the Battle of Ohio podcast Fantasy Football League.
Did I win?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No. Thomas, unfortunately, you did not beat off in church.
Well, I mean, the Lord just have other options for me.
So the teams that did win this week, my team won. The Mixon administration. Cameron Matthew from Renegades won. Jaron Romero with his first win of the season for Off in Church. The Bot won again. Nick's nice team. Nobody's Perfect. John Dorsey all won their matchups this week. And
wait, John Dorsey's in our league?
Huh?
John Dorsey's in our league?
Yeah, he's Michael Dorsey's brother.
For real? I didn't know, dude. For real, hey man, look,
not that John Dorsey.
Oh, okay.
That's not that John Dorsey, Thomas.
Very excited.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's see.
I literally got excited. You like I was joking at first, but then you said it with the most serious face. You was like, "Yeah, of course, John Dorsey's in our league."
Well, I didn't really make that connection initially. Now that you mention it, it's like, wow, that's a hell of a name. But no, he's Michael Dorsey's brother, and he's a Saints fan allegedly.
Yes, you got me off.
Or maybe that was somebody else who was a Saints fan. I don't quite remember.
Of course, John Dorsey's a Saints fan.
Nobody's Perfect is his name, and I believe whoever made Nobody's Perfect is the Saints fan. So I believe that's who that is. But the teams that, as of me writing up these notes, were in the process of winning, but still had the results pending because of this Monday night game that's currently going on, was Debbie Morgan from Debbie's Unmatched Team, expected to beat Ian Plank from Burrow's Left Leg.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Dorsey from Hanging with Hernandez was projected to beat Jordan Heiser. And it looks like that's it. So what's going on with them now? Looks like Debbie's Unmatched Team is still projected to beat Ian Plank because his guys aren't really doing quite enough. I mean, they're doing fine. They're doing better than they were projected to do, but not quite enough. He's got Ryan Tannehill in, and it's looking like Ryan Tannehill's on pace to do fine, but he needed Ryan Tannehill to really ball out to win this game. It's looking like that's not going to happen. So Debbie's Unmatched Team is probably going to win this game. Then you got Jordan Heiser from Jungle Bungles was projected to lose to Michael Dorsey from Hanging with Hernandez. And that matchup is currently in favor of... Well, actually now the projection switched. Now it's looking like Jordan Heiser's projected to beat Hanging with Hernandez. Right now, Hanging with Hernandez doesn't have any players playing, but Jordan Heiser still has Josh Allen, Emmanuel Sanders, and Derrick Henry, most of whom are having a really good game. So if that trend continues, then Jordan Heiser will most likely win this game. But right now, he is about 16 points behind, I think. So he's still going to need a few more touchdowns. So we will see what happens with that. We'll come back to that later. Looks like Michael Dorsey left quite a bit of talent on the bench. He left.
You're talking about, well, that's what John Dorsey. That's what Dorseys do. They leave so much talent on the bench.
Yeah. So Thomas, what happened in your game? You did not beat Off in Church, unfortunately for you.
I mean, look, I had other priorities.
Yeah, you had a terrible game. You still have Stephon Diggs in.
Mm-hmm.
Part of your problem is you didn't take Dallas Goedert. We talked about this on the last podcast. You didn't take Dallas Goedert off of your list, and he missed the game with COVID.
I know.
But then again, the only backup tight end you had was a guy we were talking about earlier, was Austin Hooper, and he was terrible. From a fantasy perspective, he was terrible. He scored less than 1 point.
Well, you know what?
You basically, you might as well have just left Dallas Goedert in there, honestly. You maybe would have gotten in, you'd have, right now you'd have 79 points instead of 78 if you would put Austin Hooper in.
It just wasn't a good week for me, man. It just wasn't a good week for me, man.
Not at all.
You know what frustrates me the most?
What's that?
Is that I really believe in Baker Mayfield. Maybe that was my biggest mistake in life.
Biggest mistake in life, man. I don't know about you. I still believe in Baker Mayfield to be a good.
I still do, but I'm just mad.
Well, look, if Baker Mayfield keeps going on this trajectory, he's going to have a very similar career to Andy Dalton, which you may or may not want to hear. It's good because it means the Browns are going to go through a period of relevancy. It's bad because it means you're not going to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, he already won a playoff game. I think he's fine when he's healthy. I think he's fine when he's healthy.
But what I'm saying is it seems like Baker Mayfield's on this trend to basically play well, but not necessarily great throughout his career. Like on average, play well, but not great. And he'll have great games and he'll have bad games, but it'll all average out to him being, kind of above average, but not really that great. So it's going to be one of those situations where, like, the Browns can't really afford to move on from Baker Mayfield, but they also can't really afford to commit too heavily to him.
Look, I think he'd be fine. I think long term Baker will be fine. I think he have a long career in the NFL. I think that he will. I really do think that he will. He's going to bounce back from his injury.
Yep.
I think he'd be good. He just got to get. He going, man. Look, Baker, you better play on Sunday, Thursday.
So
I'm sorry, I got nothing else to say about him.
The current playoff projection for our fantasy league is right now Brad McGee and Michael Dorsey are projected to be the to get the bye week. However, that is going to change because Brad lost to Cameron Matthew. So he's going to go down in the standings, and I imagine my team's probably going to take a bye week spot. It looks like Michael Dorsey's going to lose. He's got the other bye week spot, so he's going to go down too. So I most likely probably will get back up into one of those bye week spots. You got Jungle Bungles is one of the final spots, but that's Jordan Heiser. He's going to win this week.
Are you talking playoffs? I ain't making playoffs.
Huh? No, I'm talking about the standings, the race for the playoffs. Because I
ain't even making the race to the playoffs.
No, yeah, you're not really.
Y'all pretty driving the playoffs. My car don't got no gas.
Hey, look, you got 2 wins. If you could turn around now and probably make the playoffs. It's not dead in the water yet. It's not like you're Jan, who's just getting his first win right now. It's not like you're Christopher Deaton, who is looking like he's about to be 1-5.
It's not like I'm off in church.
Exactly. He's about to have his first win, but again, that's his first win. He's about to be 1-5. You're about to be 2-4, which isn't good, but it's not like the end of the world, especially when it comes to like a football team being 2-4. A lot of times when a team starts out 2-4, you don't think they really have much of a chance of making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Obviously they could, but you think you know who they are at that point, and they're just probably not going to turn it around. But the thing about fantasy is, you're really just dealing with points. You're really just dealing with virtual players. You're not dealing with real human beings. So you could easily turn your team around if you go find a diamond in the rough on waiver wire. I wouldn't say that you're out of it just yet.
I'm starting to meet you Felton next week.
I wouldn't do that.
Why would not?
Part of the reason you're 2-4, Thomas.
But why would think about it though? Who are they gonna go to at running back?
Well, okay, if both Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are definitely out next week,
it looks like that might happen.
Well, and if that does happen, then Demetric Felton's probably the right move at that point.
Who they gonna get offense from? Peoples Jones? This man better have like 5 touchdowns or something. I might as well just start him too.
All right. So that's pretty much all we got to say about the fantasy league right now, I think. Let's go ahead and move on to the state of the AFC North. So the Steelers are back to 500. They pull off a win that really should have never been a game because you're playing against Geno Smith, and the Steelers go up early against them. Somehow, some way, this Steelers defense, with a healthy TJ Watt, mind you, managed to let the Seahawks back into this game, and it goes to overtime. And then in overtime, Geno Smith does Geno Smith things, and he turns the ball over, and then like the Steelers are like, "We won! Yay! Look how good we are!" And it's like, bro, he almost lost to like Ben Roethlisberger threw a fumble. Like what? Did you see that, Thomas? He
No, I seen it. No, I seen it.
And then fumbled the ball on the pump fake.
I was bad. I defended that man last game.
It was
you suck, Geno.
It was an overtime that nobody wanted. I kind of wanted the overtime, but not because I wanted this. It was a terrible, awful, unwatchable game. But I kind of wanted to go to overtime because the Seahawks were losing, so I wanted the Seahawks to win. So when they went to overtime, I was like, "Yeah, let's go Seahawks." You know, Geno Smith, I'll take back everything I've ever said bad about you. And then he probably heard me, and he's like, "No, I want you to hate me, Kyle." Fuck you, Geno Smith. You and your. He's just a slimy person. I don't like him.
Maybe we trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the fact that my quarterback might be out for the season.
I can imagine. I was very much that way when Joe Burrow got hurt last year.
No, see, like I said, you knew you knew the second time it happened. The second that block was missed and he went down, you're like, "Yep, that man is done."
It looked really bad. I thought he was done, and then he went back in the game, and I was like, "What?"
I was like, "Dang!" And then, but like Baker Mayfield, this man up here coming in after injury, throwing a freaking 70-yard drive and stuff,
right?
Putting the ball right in freaking Joe Burrow's chest, and then Odell Beckham's chest, and just drop it. Joe Burrow gets his freaking leg decapitated.
So as far as the Steelers go, I give you guys no respect for this win. Zero respect. Now, maybe like 0.0001% respect because I give the Ravens zero respect for their win over the Lions because it didn't happen. That was a delay of game. There's no way Justin Tucker makes a 70-plus yard field goal. But like, save for that, I don't think I've ever been less respectful of a win in my life. Like, come on. You have Geno Smith on the other side. You basically, like, the only reason you win is because, TJ Watt, went Superman and stripped the ball out of Geno Smith's hands in the way that Geno Smith always does. But I even predicted in our predictions episode, the live predictions episode that everybody should go watch on YouTube, every Monday and Thursday that we're actually about to do after this episode. Yeah. But I predicted the Steelers would win because this is the last winnable game the Steelers have for a while. They also have the Lions, that's going to be sad to watch, but it's going to exist. Although maybe the Lions will go back to the Lions that were keeping games close. You never know. But anyway, this is not a win I respect. It was a very bad win. And they got the W, and that's great for them. But it's kind of like, if the Bengals had beaten the Packers with, like just how bad that whole game was, how many people would have really respected that win? And some people would have because it's the Packers. But this is the Seahawks, okay? The Seahawks are awful this year, and they don't even have – the only reason they were any good before was Russell Wilson. He's not even there anymore. So
at least they won.
Look, you get no respect from me for this one, Steelers. You're still a bad team. And I put you up a spot in the power rankings because you won a game, but that's literally, it took me reasoning with myself to do that. I was like, man, they did win. I have to give them credit for it, right? And I didn't really want to, but there was a lot of movement in the power rankings, so I kind of had to do that.
Well, here's what I tell you, though, man. Like, look, this is all I got for this game because they won the game and they beat a team that didn't have Russell Wilson. They lucky bastards. But I will say this: T.J. Watt's out here punching people with his stomach.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Well, he went to punch the ball.
No, man, he did it like 4 times. He was like, I'm trying to punch the ball. Take this to the gut. I mean the ball.
Well, you know what? I don't recall seeing exactly that, but I wouldn't be shocked because that's just kind of the way the Steelers do things. That's
he punched the ball like 3 times. Was it?
Something like that.
No, he didn't punch the ball. He punched something with his stomach.
I don't know. But
have you ever seen anybody punch the ball like that down that many times?
I don't recall. I just remember him punching the ball.
He wasn't punching the ball. He was punching the stomach.
I mean, I believe you. It's the Steelers. That's the way they do things. But I don't know.
Yeah, man, he was totally punching that stomach, man. He was like, ugh. Oh, so, Mike Tyson on a brother.
Speaking of unpleasant things that we need to talk about, I think Thomas and I hate.
It didn't even look like he did it twice. It didn't even look like he was going for the ball. It looked like he was going for the head. He was like, ugh. God damn it. Did it twice to be exact. You're a dirty player. Why? All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's
talk about the rat birds.
I believe it, but unfortunately, Thomas, I think it's time to start taking the Ravens seriously.
They do. I realized that when
they broke the Chargers, man. Like they broke this Chargers team. Like I mean, the Chargers. This isn't the Chargers' first loss of the season, but this is the first time the Chargers have just looked inept. And the Ravens just completely overpowered them. And that is, by the way, one thing I can stand by that we've been saying all year is Lamar Jackson is sometimes a liability, and he definitely was a liability in this game. The Ravens as a team dismantled the Chargers, but Lamar Jackson was trying to make it a close game. Lamar Jackson was trying to keep the Chargers in it. Lamar Jackson was trying to hand the game away, and he did it a couple of times, but the Ravens Ravens allowed absolutely nothing to that Chargers offense. And Lamar Jackson comes out of this like dodging a lot of criticism. But really, if you look at that like box score, if you look at what he did, if you watch the game, it was not a good performance from Lamar Jackson. And he's having trouble taking care of the football. Like, when people figure, and it happens every year, the Ravens get off to a hot start, and you actually predicted this was what would happen. The Ravens get off to a hot start and then end up kind of like falling off at the end of the year because people start figuring them out. And it's what kind of happens every year. And the thing is, if Lamar Jackson's playing like this right now, is that gonna what's gonna happen when people figure out how to like slow down this Ravens team? What's going to happen when they find their holes and they need Lamar Jackson to hold on to the ball? It's not going to be good. So
see, I want to talk smack, man, but your team won, so you could talk smack because your team's going to play them, and like your quarterback's looking like he's playing better than Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I said it, but right now my quarterback don't got a left arm.
It's true.
And that arm is really important.
Tell you what, though.
Mr. Office Church knows why that arm is important.
Oh, boy. So
go ahead.
Next week for the Ravens, it's a battle for AFC North supremacy. And it's going to be interesting when I go on double overtime. The Around the Block podcast to talk about this game that they're going to highlight as the game of the week. It's going to be interesting because like coming out of that Packers game, I was like, man, I'll come on your podcast, but I don't know if this is really going to be a game between the Bengals and the Ravens. We've seen the Ravens just absolutely dominate us before. And that was with Joe Burrow when that happened. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm starting to think maybe otherwise because, man, this defense, you know what we do best? The Bengals do best on defense, Thomas?
What do they do best?
They stop the run.
Okay.
They rank top 10 in yards per carry allowed, which is 3.9. Rushing touchdowns, they've only allowed 5. And first down run percentage, 22.7. And total rushing yards, they've only allowed 543 rushing yards this season through 6 games. So that's what the Ravens do best. And I think it could be a really interesting test to see just how good this Bengals defense really is, especially when you got guys like Chidobe Awuzie, who can probably just completely, he can cancel out Marquise Brown. So then, Lamar Jackson's going to start having to find some other people. I think Logan Wilson can probably handle Mark Andrews. Now, he'd probably get beat a bunch. But, the Bengals linebackers played really well in coverage this week. Now, is the Lions, but TJ Hawkinson's like the one good thing the Lions have going on. They played pretty well against him. At least as far as keeping him from making big game breaking plays. So if you take out, if you minimize the Ravens run game, which the Bengals are really good at doing this year, and you've got, guys who can make Lamar Jackson make some big mistakes. I don't know, man. The one thing I worry about is the Bengals have always really kind of traditionally struggled with mobile quarterbacks. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. But I think Joe Burrow right now is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
I think the Bengals defense can stop the Ravens rushing attack. I think the Bengals defense can stop the Ravens passing attack. The one wild card is like Lamar Jackson doing things with his legs. We'll see what happens there. But and we'll preview this obviously next week. This isn't really meant to be a big preview. It's just to tell you what the Ravens have coming up next after dismantling the Chargers. And so they passed their first big test. Let's see what they do against the Bengals, because I think it's just going to be a really fascinating game as far as matchup is considered.
Look, I really like the Bengals' chances for going to this game. I think the Bengals are more than adequate ready to beat the I just don't like it. I just think the Ravens have been playing very sloppy football but been getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you play against a team that flew across the country. The minute you said that the Chargers are flying across the country to play the Ravens, like, they about to lose. And then you kind of talked me out of it. But the minute you said like the Chargers are flying across the country, like who's playing home? Like the Ravens are. Like, I hate the Ravens. That's exactly what I said. Going to this game for the Bengals though, I'm really excited to see what the Bengals do. I think the Bengals are gonna the Ravens are gonna come in the game arrogant. I think they're gonna take the Bengals for granted, and the Bengals are gonna come up in there and whoop the Ravens ass. Well, that's save that for predictions on Wednesday.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that in the Bengals Ravens preview episode that's coming up next. The next episode that comes out will be that. But for now, before we go, real quick, guys, I need to tell you guys about NordVPN. I'm sure you've all heard about it because they're everywhere on YouTube, and it's for a good reason. They're the absolute best, sleekest, easiest to use VPN out there. Trust me, I like VPNs. I've used a few different VPN services myself to try to figure out which one's the best one. And I ended up settling on them because it's like I said, it's sleek and it's easy to use. I get a little bit weirded out by everybody with a basic knowledge of systems, a basic knowledge of hacking, potentially having access to my information. Not to mention the benefit of having access to regionally blocked things on the internet. It's a really good thing. There's this really great service out there called NFL Game Pass International, which has all of the normal benefits of NFL Game Pass, like the replayability, the access to, like the all 22 and stuff like that. But with the added benefit of you can watch any NFL game live. It's not available in America. It's not available in I think it's also not available in Canada. There's a couple countries it's not available in because they're not trying to compete with like DirecTV and the contract they have with them and stuff like that. But if you use NordVPN to log into like an Ireland or a Brazil server or something like that, then you can sign up for an NFL Game Pass International account. You can watch all the games without having to deal with CBS you still have to watch the CBS broadcast, but you don't have to deal with the stupid ass antenna. You don't have to deal with DirecTV and their contracts and stuff like that. You put the stream up. I'm actually watching Bills Titans right now, the Monday Night Football game, right next to the notes that I have with NFL Game Pass International. And the only way that you can use that is if you use a VPN service. And I'm telling you right now that NordVPN is the best service to use. So I'm going to leave a link in the description. And if you go click that link, then you're going to get 69% off your first 3 months for free, which only equals out to $367 a month. So, go pick that up. Helps out our channel. It'll help you out. It's something that I think, everybody could really enjoy. Everybody in my family uses it. My wife loves NordVPN. I love NordVPN. I definitely recommend it to you guys. So go check it out in the link that I'm going to put in the description.
This is the second time that we've done this promotion, right?
Yep.
And 367, right?
Mm-hmm.
You add 2 to 367, 2 times we've done this promotion, you get 69, which is 69% off. It's so wonderful.
Yep, that's right. That's right. That is a very good thing. It's nice, I think I would call it. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can find more of what I do at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter. I'm always doing some sort of like live tweeting games. Putting up interesting information that I find on film. I'm not a film junkie, but I do watch some film, and I put up various observations I have about that on Twitter, and then observations I have about the Pro Football Focus grades that comes out. So you can find that at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter. You can friend me at facebook.com/thephelps, where I'm a little bit more personal, but I also have a ton of Bengals content on there too. Go to atbnetwork.com and find all of my Bengals content, Bengals beat content there. And on top of that, there's a plethora of different podcasts out there that you can find for the vast majority of things that you want to listen to, and not only football stuff, guys. We're talking about there's this one podcast called I forget exactly the name of it, but it's like the Blast Beats podcast or something like that, and it's a music podcast. Go to there's a lot of good content there on atbnetwork.com. Shout out to our friends around the block who picked us up for their network and are giving us access to things like StreamYard and some of this professional stuff that you see us doing now. But like I said, you can also go just check out Bengals articles that I'm writing on there. And thanks for listening, everybody. And before I forget, you can find more of what Thomas does because he's important too. At T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram, and the Thomas J Network on YouTube. TJM on YouTube and TikTok, where I believe Thomas is making up video clips of the podcast, so you can go watch very short versions of the podcast on his TikTok. So go check that out, guys. But anyway, I will close things off there and leave y'all with a hoo day.
Go Rounds.